This player's swing went from this to this almost instantly. And this player's swing went from this to this in 5 easy steps. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 key steps to building a major league swing. The same steps that transform my game and can do the same for you. See, when I made these changes, I went from weak ground balls and low line drives to driving baseballs deep over the outfielders' heads and even out of the park. And if you follow these steps 1 through 5, you'll see the same kind of transformation in your swing. So with that said, get ready to take your swing to the next level. Let's dive in. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm former MLB player Jermaine Curtis, and the swing pattern that I'm going to share with you today took me 32 years to understand. And it's the same swing pattern that the best players in the world use. Players like Barry Bonds, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani. All the best players in the game use this swing. And in the next few minutes, I'm gonna share with you how this swing pattern was able to get me and my family out of rough circumstances and how you can use it to turn your swing into a weapon where you can hit with more power and hit with consistency. Now, there are 4 main problems when it comes to the swing. 1, loading. 2, the initial phase of the swing. 3, bat path. And 4, extension. Now, don't worry, I'm gonna share with you how to solve all these, but let's dive a little bit deeper into each one. Now, problem number 1, loading. Many players load too much, too little, or none at all. And here's the problem. A poor load sets everything else up for failure. Without the proper load, you're losing power before your swing even begins, and that makes it nearly impossible to generate power and hit with authority. Problem number 2, which is the initial phase of the swing. Many players are taught to throw their hands at the ball, and this gets them disconnected. Now their hands get away from their body really early, causing that casting-like motion, and it causes them to come around the baseball, and their swing gets very long, and it makes it very hard for them to be consistent. The reason is because if you can't get inside the baseball, you're honestly guaranteeing yourself weak contact, weak hits, and frustrating at bats. Now, let's talk about problem number 3, which is bat path. And I see this with a lot of young players. They really struggle with getting on the plane of the pitch, and more importantly, controlling the barrel inside the zone to the baseball. And that's why you get that bat drag, and then their bat flattening out too soon, and they're getting a lot of weak contact and inconsistent hits. See, without a proper bat path, you'll find yourself hitting weak ground balls, popping balls up to the opposite side, and not hitting those line drives and gap-to-gap shots that you know you can. Now, let's talk about problem number 4, which is extension. And extension is a very important matter, and a lot of young players struggle with this. They get to the baseball and they stop at contact, and then they just start running. You get others who get to the baseball and then they roll their wrist over and they're hitting a lot of ground balls. You just see a lot of players that don't properly extend through the baseball. See, without proper extension through the baseball, even your best swings will feel like a disappointment because you're not getting everything you can into the baseball. Now, unfortunately, what most coaches and hitting gurus today teach causes all these problems. They emphasize outdated or extreme methods that leads to weak ground balls, soft contact, pop-ups, and there's very few line drives. And if you continue to do this, your confidence will erode over time, and this will keep you from reaching your full potential at the plate. And I know this because I struggled as a young baseball player. And it's because I learned these methods. I grew up in a very rough environment, and we didn't have good coaching and we didn't have the right information. So I was taught a lot of the things that you are getting taught today. And these methods helped me back. And it led me to hitting a lot of ground balls, weak contact, pop-ups. It was very few and far between that I was hitting line drives. And I remember vividly a stretch of games where I would come up to the plate and pitch after pitch, I take my swing and I was hitting a ground ball to shortstop or third base, game after game, at bat after at bat. And I remember going back to the dugout and my teammates calling me a rally killer because I had hit into 2 double plays in 1 game. And as you already know, that was a huge knock to my confidence. It got so bad that I really thought about quitting this game. And seriously, if you would have looked in the dictionary and looked up inconsistent hitter, it would have been my face right there. walking back to the dugout with the sad face, like, another ground ball. But everything changed when I discovered the swing pattern that I'm gonna share with you today. The ball started jumping off my bat, and I was able to start hitting more line drives. Then those line drives started turning to gap doubles. And then I was able to start hitting baseballs out of the ballpark. And you will too. Now, after years and years of trial and error and talking and learning from the best players that ever played this game, I figured out that the most effective swing resembles a Nike swoosh logo. See, this concept took me years to fully grasp. But when you look at players like Miguel Cabrera, Shohei Ohtani, and Barry Bonds, you'll notice that swoosh-like motion in their swing. And if you adopt this, you'll start hitting more line drives, you'll hit fewer ground balls, you'll have fewer pop-ups. Overall, your performance will improve. But most importantly, you'll be doing exactly what the best players in the world are doing. With saying that, the swing that I teach has been refined over time, but its foundation came from Barry Bonds. See, back in 2007, I was playing at UCLA, and that was the first time I met Barry Bonds, and he gave me some tips, some drills, some advice that really shaped me as a player and transformed my game. And so what he's taught me is a little foundation of what I'm going to teach you, but I've, basically refined it over time and made it my own. Now, I teach this in my programs called the 100X Power Program, and the goal is to get you to tap into your full power as a player, because most players do not tap into their full power. And this segment that I'm going to teach you right now is just a very, very small segment of my program. And the core of this swing is called the catch swing framework. As Barry Bonds will always say, it's his theme. So I've taken that, made it my own, and now I'm going to share it with you. And the whole point of this framework was to help you create a very repeatable and consistent swing that allows you to hit those line drives and hit the baseball with authority. Now, before we get started, I've created a free download for you. It's called the Ultimate Swing Framework, and it's everything I'm going to be teaching you today. So if you're interested in that, plus a lot of bonuses such as a checklist and all kinds of stuff that's going to help you implement what I'm going to share with you today so that you can take your swing to that next level, the link is below. Now, the first step in the catch framework is the C, and what that is just charging up. Essentially what that is a load. And when I talk to a lot of players, they struggle with the load. I tell them, hey, just load, and what they do is they push their hands back, and now you get this arm bar right here, and then they start coming around the baseball. So what I tell my hitters to do is think about your arms as wings. Think about your elbows as wings. And all we're trying to do is we're just trying to flap that back wing. And when you flap that back wing, what you're gonna get is this knob to smile. And that's what we want, because we want to get into this position right here with the knob pointing to the catcher, the barrel above the head, and that back elbow in that punching position, and you'll be able to feel your scap. And when you start to stride out, you'll really get that separation so you can really get that power into the baseball. And the other reason I really love this low is because it's very simple and repeatable, right? You can do this. Anyone can do this at any age. All we're doing is wing flapping. And what that does is it takes the focus from the hands onto the elbows. And this solves problem number one, which is the load. And to give you an example of this, look at Julio Rodriguez and notice how he uses the wing flap to get into a powerful, proper position. Now, the next step in the catch framework is the A, and what that stands for is aligning the knob. And what we're doing here is, after we've gotten to a proper load, what we're doing is we're pulling the knob of the bat around this back shoulder tight, right inside of our body. See, you can't get inside the baseball if you're not inside your body. A lot of players, they throw their hands away from their body, so they're already around their body, and then that makes them around the baseball. So what we're doing here is we're pulling that knob inside of our body, okay, and we're trying to get this barrel parallel to the ground, right? And the best way to describe that, and what I tell my hitters, is that think of the bat knob right here as a train, and right here at the plate or when you're hitting at a field or hitting in the cage, you have that line. Well, that line is the train tracks. And all we're trying to do is we're trying to put the train on the train tracks. And when we do that, we work inside of our body, and that'll make us inside the baseball, so that when we do turn that barrel over, we're able to hit those line drives to the opposite field, hit them in the gaps, pull side, and really start to drive the baseball instead of coming around it and hitting ground balls. So if you do that correctly, what you're gonna do is you're gonna make that Nike swoosh logo that I talked about, that swoosh motion, because the barrel is here when we're in that load, and then as we start to pull the train on the train tracks, you can see how that barrel starts to make that little Nike swoosh, right? And so that right there will solve problem number 2, which is the initial phase of the swing, because you won't be disconnected, you'll stay inside of the baseball, and you will not be casting in your swing.
And to give you an example, look at Stephen Kwan. Notice how he pulls the bat around his back shoulder, and the bat gets parallel, creating a perfect Nike swoosh-like motion.
Now, the next step in the catch framework is the tee. And what we're doing here is we're training the top hand to catch the baseball. See, after we've made that Nike-like swoosh and we're inside of our body, now we want to turn the barrel over and catch the baseball. And if you do it correctly, what you're gonna get here is palm up, palm down, with the hands above the barrel. And what you're gonna do, or what we're trying to do, is to catch it in a power V position. And if you don't know what a power V position is, this position right here, where this back arm, okay, is in this like V-like shape. Okay, this right here, this is a very strong position, and this will be the target when you're hitting, and this will set us up for the rest of the swing. So we want to get into this power V position and catch the baseball. It's a strong position. It's going to really allow us to start driving those baseballs. And the last thing I want to say about this is that we want to get on a slightly upward trajectory, just as the Nike sign is, right? We don't want to go straight across. We want to kind of have a slightly upward trajectory through the baseball, because the ball is coming down, right? The ball is getting thrown on the angle down, and we want to catch that baseball on the same plane. So that would mean we're going on a slightly upwards trajectory through the baseball. And this will solve problem number 3, which is bat path and bat control.
And to give you an example of this, look at Barry Bonds. Notice how his hands stay above the barrel as he catches the baseball in the power V position.
So the next step in the framework is the C, and what we're doing here is we're continuing through the baseball. So after we've caught the baseball with our top hand and we've gotten to this power V position, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna maintain a firm wrist through the baseball. So what that means is all we're doing is having a strong wrist through the baseball, just like this. And the best way to describe this is that we want to gut punch the pitcher with our top hand. So all we're doing is here, and we're going through and we're gut punching the pitcher, and that'll keep our path through the baseball to the middle of the field, which will allow us to hit those line drives, to hit those gap-to-gap doubles, and really stay through the baseball so that we can extend our swing plane so we can be able to hit those line drives.
And to give you an example of this, let's check out Fernando Tatis Jr. Look how he maintains a firm wrist as he gut punches through the baseball, driving it with authority.
Now, the next step in the catch framework is the H, and what that means is a high finish. Now, a lot of players struggle with that. They get to the baseball, right, and they immediately roll that wrist over and they exit the zone. So that stops them from hitting those line drives that we want. So the reason why I made this H is because we really want to emphasize that high finish through the baseball. And so if you were on the side of me as you are right now, let me turn a bit, and I was swinging the bat and I was hitting the baseball, my hands shouldn't roll over until my hands pass my chest. So if I was wearing batting gloves, you'll be able to see that logo if it was a Nike sign, if it was a Jordan sign, until the hands pass the chest. So that's a good reminder if you're, coaching your kid, or if you're watching a video of yourself. See if you can see that logo of the Bruce Bolt or whatever batting gloves you use until the hands pass the chest. And the best way to explain this is what I tell my hitters is that think about giving yourself a pat on the back with your top hand. So if you're a right-handed hitter, you want to give yourself a pat on the back over this shoulder, the front shoulder, with your right hand. If you're a left-handed hitter, you want to give yourself a pat on the back over your front shoulder, which is your right shoulder. So what this will look like is that right when you get here and you gut punch the pitcher, now you want to give yourself a pat on the back, and it'll be like that, and it'll keep you through the field, through the center of the field, and allow you to elevate that baseball and stay right through it so that you're able to hit those line drives, those gap-to-gap doubles, and you know, basically square more balls up.
And this is why I added the other Nike swoosh-like motion to the tail end of the Nike swoosh symbol, because it emphasizes a high finish. And to give you an example of this, look at Mookie Betts. Notice when he extends through the baseball, he keeps a high finish, with his bottom hand logo visible until his wrist roll over after passing his chest. And notice how his top hand, which is his right hand, also moved towards his shoulder, as if he's giving himself a pat on the back.
Now, if you do this correctly, you'll solve problem number 4, which is extension. Now, if you incorporate the catch swing framework, you'll experience more line drives, you'll experience less ground balls, you'll experience less rollovers, you'll experience less pop-ups, and overall you'll perform at a much higher level and that allow you to play to your fullest potential. Now, to illustrate how effective this swing is, let me give you a few stories of players who went through my 100x power program who are now using the catch swing framework, and it's transformed their game.
Player number 1, he started with the swing that produced a lot of ground balls and rollovers, as you can see, and after implementing the catch swing framework, his swing transformed and he began consistently squaring up the baseball, and his confidence skyrocketed. Now let's go to player number 2. His goal was to hit the ball on the ground and run, and for that reason he was getting overlooked. After implementing the catch swing framework, he's now hitting line drives and even some home runs. Now player number 3, before using the catch swing framework, he struggled to make contact, as you can see, and when he did, it was soft. Now he drives the baseball with authority and exudes confidence at the plate.
Now, if you're looking to hit line drives and drive the baseball with authority and truly unlock your full potential as a hitter, I invite you to book
a live free swing breakdown with me.
During this call, I will review your swing, give you personalized feedback. If you're younger than 18, please make sure your parent is present or you'll be denied. Now, every season and every at-bat counts, so make sure you take advantage of every opportunity that you can. So go ahead, go down and book your call. I won't be doing this forever, and spots do fill up quickly. And if you're not ready to book a call yet, share this to a friend, a teammate, or a baseball parent who's looking to take their kid to that next level. And you could check out this video right here, which tells you exactly how to hit your first or your next home run. Thank you for watching.